CSIR Evolution Chapter 16. Chapter 16 Mating System and Parental Care. 26.1 Mating Behavior. Mating behavior involves many kinds of social interactions. They can be one-on-one, two-on-one, or large groups, such as the leks of males that gather to display to females in many bird species, e.g., the black grouse. Mating behavior includes mate choice, intrasexual competition for mates, and parental care. Mate choice can lead to competition among one sex for mates of the other sex. More proximate studies of mating behavior have focused on how genes regulate the development of traits in one sex but not the other, and on the neural activation involved in sexual selection. Although sexual selection is typically used to explain traits within a species, recent work has examined how it can promote speciation as well. The evolution of mating behavior was first analyzed by Charles Darwin in his 1871 theory of sexual selection. Darwin was a devoted naturalist and made copious notes on the morphological differences between male and female genitalia, organs of reproduction, or the primary sexual characteristics. In many different species, such traits are often used by researchers to distinguish different species of invertebrates. He also noted many other differences between males and females in traits not directly involved in reproduction, called secondary sexual characteristics. For example, in many birds, males have colorful plumage, while females are drab. Many male mammals and insects possess large antlers, horns, or horn-like projections that are lacking in females. Darwin observed that such elaborate and exaggerated traits, in conjunction with complex behavioral displays and vocalizations, are often involved in conspecific interactions during the mating season. Secondary sexual traits puzzled Darwin because they did not seem to fit into his theory of natural selection. Exaggerated morphological and behavioral traits should be energetically expensive to produce and maintain, and they can make individuals more obvious to predators, and so reduce their survivorship. In On the Origin of Species, Darwin first proposed that exaggerated male traits might be advantageous for reproduction rather than for survival. In a subsequent book, The Descent of Man and Selection in Relation to Sex, Darwin in fact hypothesized that these traits might arise from a different form of selection. Sexual selection represents the advantage certain individuals have over others of the same sex and species solely in respect of reproduction. As such, sexual selection is a subset of natural selection. Bateman's hypothesis for sexual selection, the hypothesis that female reproductive success is most strongly limited by the number and success of eggs that she can produce, while male reproductive success is limited by the number of mates he has. Therefore, males will often compete for access to females, and females will be choosy in their selection of mates. Parental investment theory, the hypothesis that the sex that pays the higher cost of parental investment should be choosier when it comes to mates. The other sex will then experience more intense sexual selection. When one sex has greater parental investment, these individuals will not always be sexually receptive, because they are caring for, investing in, current offspring. Females can benefit by choosing males that provide direct material benefits, such as food gifts, access to territories with abundant food, or enhanced parental care. A physical resource such as a food item that an individual provides to a potential mate to enhance mating success is referred as nuptial gift. Females can also benefit by mating with males that have high genetic quality, which provide indirect genetic benefits that enhance the fitness of offspring. Operational sex ratio, the waiting time in one sex to once again become sexually receptive results in a difference in the number of sexually receptive males and females in a population, known as the operational sex ratio. A large skew in the operational sex ratio toward the non-caring sex with little or no waiting time to mate results in greater intensity of sexual selection on that sex. Because females in most species invest more in offspring, we can expect to see choosy females and a higher variation in male reproductive success. Mate competition, a situation in which members of the same sex compete for access to the other sex for reproduction. also called intrasexual selection. Mate choice, selection by one sex for members of the other sex for reproduction. Also known as intersexual selection. Weapons and ornaments. As a result of sexual selection, we expect that males will often exhibit exaggerated traits used in competition for females. These traits may be morphological or involve behaviors such as vocalizations in courtship. Rituals. Exaggerated morphological traits used in male-male competition are often called weapons, and those used to attract females are known as ornaments. Exaggerated male traits are widespread, particularly in mammals and arthropods. And many male birds possess ornaments. Sensory bias hypothesis. It states that female mating preferences are a byproduct of pre-existing biases in a female's sensory system. These biases are presumed to have evolved in a non-mating context, with males evolving traits to match those biases. Fisher's runaway process, an evolutionary process in which a male trait co-evolves with a female preference for it and becomes increasingly exaggerated. Zahavi handicap principle, a hypothesis that well-developed secondary sexual characteristics are costly because they handicap survival and thus they are a reliable indicator of male genetic quality, or good genes. Hamilton-Zook hypothesis. William Hamilton and Marlene Zook proposed that parasites and pathogens play an important role in sexual selection when secondary sexu traits are costly and condition-dependent. For example, males may vary in their immune response. Some males will have alleles that confer greater resistance to pathogens than will others. If pathogens reduce male vigor, then only males with superior disease resistance will be able to display exaggerated secondary sexual traits. Females that mate with such males will benefit by passing these alleles to their offspring. This is the Hamilton-Zook hypothesis, which makes two predictions. 1. Females should prefer to mate with males that have the greatest expression of secondary sexual traits. 2. High parasite loads will reduce that expression in males. Need of having two sexes. One fundamental difference between males and females is the size of their gametes. Males tend to produce many small, motile gametes, sperm, while females tend to produce much larger, nutrient-rich, and non-motile gametes, eggs, a phenomenon called anisogamy. Small gametes have a numerical advantage, they will create the most zygotes. On the other hand, large gametes always produce zygotes with the highest survival. Intermediate-sized zygotes have neither advantage and so have the lowest fitness. Thus, there is disruptive selection against intermediate-sized gametes. The result is high fitness for either protomales, which produce many small gametes, or protofemales, which produce fewer large gametes. We now can understand why one sex, males, produces many small gametes that contain only genetic material, while the other sex, females, produces a smaller number of large, nutrient-rich gametes. The evolution of two different sexes leads to different reproductive strategies and sets the stage for sexual selection. Male mate choice. While female mate choice and male exaggerated traits are common, they are by no means universal. Depending on circumstances, males can also be selective, and this choosiness has favored the evolution of female secondary sexual traits in some species. Pipefish are an example of a sex role reversed species, in which females compete for males that invest heavily in parental care. Females transfer their eggs to the male's egg brooding structure. The male then fertilizes the eggs and cares for them as they develop, that is, males become pregnant. Because males invest more heavily in offspring than do females as a result of their high levels of parental care, sexual selection theory predicts that males should be the choosy sex and that female-female competition for mates may be intense. We might also expect females to display secondary sexual ornaments. Sexual selection can also occur after mating. Up to now, we have considered aspects of sexual selection prior to copulation. This is only part of the story. Both mate competition and mate choice can occur after gamete transfer. Post-copulatory male competition can occur when females mate with more than one male and the sperm of different males compete to fertilize the eggs, a phenomenon known as sperm competition. In addition, post-copulatory female choice can occur after gamete transfer when a female influences the fertilization success of sperm from one male over that of others. Both phenomena require that females mate with multiple males, a common behavior. One behavior that males can adopt to reduce mate competition and enhance their paternity is mate guarding. Before and after copulation, a male follows his mate to prevent her from mating with rivals. However, this behavior has obvious costs. The time and energy spent guarding one mate can preclude a male from mating with other females or from acquiring food and other resources. Cryptic female choice. In species with internal fertilization, a female can mate with multiple males and then influence the fertilization success of sperm from one male over that of others, which is known as cryptic female choice. Female can enhance the fitness of her offspring by biasing fertilization success in favor of the higher quality male. It can reduce fitness costs associated with inbreeding depression. When males cannot successfully compete for females, selection will favor alternative mating tactics. Common examples in many taxa are satellites and sneakers, and recent work has attempted to determine whether such tactics yield the same fitness as those used by competitive males. In many species, the choice of a mate is affected by the mating decisions of others. It is termed as mate choice copying. Such mate choice copying occurs in both females and males. While most evidence comes from laboratory studies, recent work with fish has demonstrated mate copying in the wild. Mate copying may allow individuals to better discriminate differences in quality among potential mates. 6.2 Mating system. Mating system are defined as mating patterns in an animal population, including extent of inbreeding, possible pair bonding, individuals' numbers of simultaneous mates, and distribution of parental care within a mated pair. Table 24 summarizes differences among the 5 mating systems: monogamy, polygyny, polyandry, polygynandry, and promiscuity. In some mating systems, individuals live in close association with one another during the breeding season and are said to form a pair bond. However, pair bonds are far from universal, and an individual's number of mates and types of social association range widely across taxa. It is important to emphasize that the above breeding seasons are defined within one reproductive season. In many species, individuals mate with a different partner in successive breeding seasons, even if they are, for instance, monogamous within a single season. Table 24 Mating systems. 16.2.1 Evolution of mating system. Stephen Emlen and Louis Oring argued that mating systems can be understood by examining 2 factors. One is evolutionary, sexual conflict, or the differential selection on males and females to maximize their fitness. The other factor is ecological, the ways in which resource limitation and distribution affect fitness benefits and costs for each sex. Emlen and Oring's model assumes that for a female, fitness will often be more strongly limited by the resources she can obtain to invest in offspring than by the number of her sexual partners. This idea follows from the assumption that females typically invest more energy in offspring than males do. Eggs, because of their relatively large size, should require more energy to produce than sperm. For example, female birds and reptiles may invest up to 50% of their body mass in production of a single clutch of eggs. In many species, females expend more energy on parental care, e.g., incubation, feeding, and defense, than do males. In addition, most females can obtain sufficient sperm from a single male to fertilize all her eggs for one reproductive event. In contrast, for a male, fitness is most strongly affected by the number of sexual partners he obtains. The more partners, the higher his fitness. This difference sets the stage for sexual conflict. Emlen and Oring suggested that for a female, selection will favor a mating system that provides the greatest access to resources. If the female sexual partner provides high levels of resources to the young, such as a high-quality territory and a great deal of parental care, monogamy, one male with one female will be favored. If multiple males all provide care to the female's offspring, polyandry will be favored. In contrast, for males, selection will favor polygyny when males that mate with multiple partners have higher fitness than those that mate with a single female. If sexual conflict does not exist because care from both parents is required to successfully raise offspring, as occurs in many birds, selection will favor monogamy and biparental care. Emlen and Oring suggested that this system might often be favored in resource-poor environments or when resources are difficult to obtain. Biparental care and monogamy might also be favored when predation on unattended young is high. 16.2.2 Types of mating system. Animals exhibit different mating systems. Mating system can be classified by focal organisms based on number of mates and other criteria, including number of serial mates, number of simultaneous mates, extent of inbreeding, and amount of maternal and paternal care given to offspring into following categories. 1. Monogamy. In the case of genetic and social monogamy, one male and one female animal are involved in the production of offspring. Genetic monogamy is not a requirement of social monogamy, and males are often cuckolded and rear the offspring of their rivals. Monogamy is most common in situations where input from both parents is required to successfully rear the young, or in situations where a male needs to guard his mate from rivals to ensure that he is the genetic father of her offspring. Monogamy occurs in animals including some beetle and crab species, 90% of bird species, some mammal species, e.g. some rodent species, gibbons, humans, most canid species, including foxes, jackals, and wolves. In many bird species, males are monogamous in the sense that they each pair bond with one mate and give parental assistance, but they are also polygynous because they obtain extra pair copulations. Biparental care favors monogamy. Monogamy is generally observed in situations when biparental care is essential. Monogamy is rare in mammals, because female lactation, the secretion of highly nutritious milk from mammary glands alone, can provide all the food needed to raise offspring successfully. Monogamy does occur in some mammals, including many primates. It is rare, however, in rodents but does occur in the California mouse, Paramyscus californicus, which is found throughout California and northern Mexico. Adults form exclusive pair bonds, and genetic data indicate that this species does not mate outside the pair bond. The pair defends a territory, and males assist with all aspects of parental care except lactation. This assistance includes huddling, maintaining close body contact with pups in order to warm them, grooming the young, and carrying them from one location to another. Monogamy can be without biparental care. The need for biparental care is thought to explain the evolution of monogamy in many species. Yet monogamy does occur in some species that lack biparental care, including coral reef fishes, some mammals, and several species of crustaceans. Two hypotheses, which are not mutually exclusive, have been proposed to explain monogamy in such species. 1. The territorial cooperation hypothesis. It states that because two individuals can better defend a critical resource, such as a safe refuge, than can a single individual, selection may favor pair formation and shared defense. 2. The mate guarding hypothesis. It states that selection may favor males that guard females by remaining in close association with them over the course of one or more reproductive cycles. This behavior allows a male to monopolize a single female, but it also prevents both partners from seeking other mates. Both hypotheses make assumptions about the environment. In the first, competition for limited territories is assumed to be intense, or predation outside a safe refuge within the territory is assumed to be high. In the second, a male's encounter rate with females is assumed to be low, perhaps because females are rare or difficult to locate. Opposite to monogamy mating system is polygamy. Polygamy is defined as a mating structure in which a single individual of one gender has exclusive access to several individuals of the opposite gender. It takes two main forms: polyandry and polygyny. 2. Polyandry, a mating system in which a female copulates and has reproductive success with more than one male. during her entire life, or an entire breeding season, whether or not she is pair bonded to any of her mates. This system is termed polyandry, and in comparison to the mating systems previously outlined, it is comparatively rare. This rare mating system occurs in a few species of pipefish and in some families of birds. It is particularly common in shorebirds such as jacanas. Polyandry can evolve when it is advantageous to both sexes that females be freed from providing parental care, making parental care male biased. One possible situation that might produce a polyandrous system is one in which there is very high predation on offspring. If many offspring are lost to predators, both sexes can benefit if a female can quickly reproduce again. However, egg production is costly. If a male provides more care, a female can provide less care and thus feed more to quickly replenish her energy stores for reproduction in the event that current offspring do not survive. Once males provide high levels of care and females are able to quickly lay multiple clutches, selection can favor females that mate with multiple males and lay a clutch of eggs that is then tended by each one. 3. Polygyny, a mating system in which a male copulates and has reproductive success with more than one female, whether or not he is pair bonded to any of his mates. Polygyny is predicted to evolve when environmental conditions lead to the aggregation of females, because such aggregations are more easily defended by a male from rivals. It can be further studied under following major types. Resource-based polygyny, when males control access to the resources that are essential to the reproductive success of the females, food, territory, etc., and males compete with one another to control these resources. Polygyny is favored. Under this system, a small number of males secure the bulk of the resource and monopolize the majority of the reproductive opportunity. The females choose these high-status/quality males, and each male will mate with many females. Polygyny threshold model. If access to resources affects female reproductive success, the polygyny threshold model predicts that females should mate polygynously only when the benefits of doing so, access to greater resources, outweigh the cost of sharing resources with other females. Of course, males differ in their ability to defend resources. Some will defend territories rich enough in resources to meet the requirements of multiple females. Others will only be able to defend territories with lower levels of resources enough, for example, to fulfill the requirements of just a single female. This variability means that females can mate monogamously on a resource-poor territory or can mate polygynously on a resource-rich territory. Females should select the option that leads to higher fitness, figure 136. The model predicts that only males defending resource-rich territories will mate polygynously. Female defense polygyny. This system is similar to resource-based polygyny in that it results in a situation in which a small proportion of the male population establishes reproductive control over the bulk, if not all, of the female population, and high-status males secure large numbers of mates. In this case, however, males compete directly with one another to secure and defend groups of females rather than resources. Male dominance or lek-based polygyny. Polygyny is also possible when males gather at traditional display sites termed leks. A lek is an aggregation of male animals gathered to engage in competitive displays and courtship rituals, known as lekking. A lek can also indicate an available plot of space able to be utilized by displaying males to defend their own share of territory for the breeding season. These males do not defend resources, other than a very small area in which they display, nor do they defend females. Males will compete with one another to establish a dominance hierarchy, and females visit the lek site will mate with high-ranking males. A few high-ranking individuals will then obtain most of the matings, while many others will have low reproductive success. Figure 136, Polygyny Threshold Model. The fitness of a female is plotted as a function of territory quality for two options: mating monogamously or mating polygynously. To benefit by mating polygynously, territory quality must be substantially higher, represented by the thick line on the x-axis. Low-ranking males are also benefit by lekking. Two hypotheses explain the evolution of male aggregation into leks. 1. The hotspot hypothesis. It predicts that all males should aggregate where they are likely to encounter many females, such as near food resources. Settling in such locations increases encounters with females for all males, even those of low rank. 2. The hotshot hypothesis. It states that low-ranking males should aggregate around high-ranking males because females are more likely to visit attractive males. In both cases, low-ranking males can benefit by encountering more females at a lower cost rather than by searching for females on their own. Distinguishing these hypotheses is challenging because they are not mutually exclusive. A hotshot could be at a hotspot. One approach used to distinguish them is to remove males from a lek, because the two hypotheses then make contrasting predictions about how males and females will respond. If males settle near high-quality, hotshot males, the removal of hotshots should decrease the lek's attractiveness to both females and remaining males. Removal of lower-quality males near a hotshot should affect only the remaining low-ranking males, should then move to the vacated territories. In contrast, if males settle in areas of high female activity, a hotspot, removal of some males should not influence the attractiveness of a display location. New males will settle on the vacated sites, which will still be attractive to females. Harem polygyny, polygyny in which one adult male controls exclusive sexual access to a social group of two or more breeding females, usually by means of aggressive behavior. 4. Polygynandry. Polygynandry involve multiple mating partners for each and has defined social associations. Social associations are found in polygynandry, but not in promiscuity. Polygynandry, or plural breeding, is rare but does occur in some social species, and particularly in mammals that defend a territory from other such groups. For example, African lions, Panthera leo, live in social groups, which facilitates hunting success. A pride consists of 2 or more adult males, which are often relatives, and up to 9 adult females. Males defend their females, and multiple males mate with multiple females. 5. Promiscuity. Promiscuity involves multiple mating partners for each sex but where no social association is observed. Promiscuity should evolve when the benefits of social living are low. Both females and males are then solitary, and pair bond formation provides no fitness benefits to either sex. Conditions also favor this system's evolution when the defense of mates or resources is uneconomical, as might occur when population density is high or when it is too costly for males to aggregate on leks, as in high predation risk conditions. Such a system might also occur when individuals cannot afford to forego feeding to spend time on a lek. Promiscuous mating is characterized by scramble competition, as individuals compete indirectly with each other to find and secure copulations with multiple mates. This system occurs in many invertebrates. For example, seaweed flies, Coelopa frigida, live and breed in decaying seaweed on beaches. They engage in no courtship behavior, and males attempt to copulate with females as soon as they encounter them. 6. Extra pair copulation. Mating system classifications were originally developed from observations of individuals and their pair bond associations. Under the assumption that individuals only mated with their social partners, these classifications are known as social mating systems. With the advent of DNA fingerprinting techniques, we have learned that social mating systems often differ from genetic mating systems, which describe the actual number of sexual partners that contribute to a set of offspring. Because both males and females mate outside of existing pair bonds and social associations. For instance, roughly 90% of socially monogamous bird species engage in extrapair copulations, EPCs, which result in extrapair offspring. Such behavior is widespread across taxa. Together, these observations have led to the definition of extrapair mating systems, which occur when social and genetic mating systems differ because of extrapair paternity. To understand the evolution of extrapair mating, consider a socially monogamous, pair-bonded species. From an evolutionary perspective, it is easy to understand why males seek sexual partners outside the pair bond. Doing so can increase their reproductive success. The risk to a male of seeking extra pair partners is that other males are behaving similarly, so while he is away from his partner, he may lose paternity to other males. On the other hand, a female that seeks extra pair partners may risk losing parental care from her mate if his paternity is not certain. In general, females cannot increase the number of offspring they produce by mating with multiple males. Given the potential cost and apparent lack of benefits, why do socially monogamous females mate with multiple partners? Several hypotheses explain multi-male mating by socially monogamous females. In some cases, particularly in birds, females can gain additional care for their offspring if each sexual partner provides some parental care. Alternatively, in some social mammals with multiple males in the group, dominant males may kill unrelated offspring, infanticide. However, if a female mates with multiple males, especially dominant ones, she may be able to protect her offspring from infanticide because paternity will be uncertain and a male will not kill offspring of a female he has inseminated. However, the most general explanation for multi-male mating is that females can increase the genetic quality of their offspring. In social monogamy, females associate with one male. Only one female can form a pair bond with the highest quality male in a population, and so many females will form a pair bond with lower-ranking males. Mating with a low-quality male can affect not only the survival of a female's offspring but also her own condition. Socially monogamous females, in fact, experience higher levels of stress when they mate with low-quality mates. From this perspective, it is easier to identify the potential benefits of extra pair matings for females. First, a female can benefit by mating with a male of higher quality than her social partner, as we saw previously in the good genes hypothesis. Second, high levels of heterozygosity commonly increase fitness, because it reduces the likelihood that recessive deleterious alleles will be expressed. A female can benefit by mating with an extra pair mate that is genetically more dissimilar to herself than her social mate, because this will increase the level of heterozygosity of her offspring. These hypotheses are not mutually exclusive. Taken together, they constitute the genetic quality hypothesis, which states that females that engage in multi-male matings can improve the fitness of their offspring via genetic mechanisms. A female can benefit by mating with an extra pair mate that is genetically more dissimilar to herself than her social mate, because this will increase the level of heterozygosity of her offspring. These hypotheses are not mutually exclusive. Taken together, they constitute the genetic quality hypothesis, which states that females that engage in multi-male matings can improve the fitness of their offspring via genetic mechanisms. 16.3 Parental care. The most widespread form of social system is the family, an association of one or more adults and their dependent offspring. Parental care, the activities of an adult that enhance the survivorship of offspring, includes nourishing and incubating eggs and young, defending them from predators, and sometimes transporting them. Parental care is the attention that is taken by the parents toward rearing and protecting their offspring until they attain the age of being self-reliable and independent. Some animals will extend parental care even if their progenies are able to sustain themselves. These will include man and other primates. Caring of offspring requires time and energy. If parental care lasts a long time, or if the breeding season is longer than the time it takes for offspring to mature, adults may still be caring for younger offspring when older offspring reach parenting age. These older offspring may help their parents care for their younger siblings. Among birds, many communal breeding systems probably evolved by this route. Florida scrub jays live all year on territories, each of which contains a breeding pair and up to 6 helpers that bring food to the nest. Nearly all helpers are offspring from the previous breeding season that remain with their parents. Most mammals also evolved social systems via an extended family. In simple mammalian social systems, solitary females or male-female pairs care for their young. As the period of parental care increases, older offspring are still present when the next generation is born, and they often help rear their younger siblings. In most social mammal species, female offspring remain in the group in which they were born, but males tend to leave, or are driven out, and must seek other social groups. Therefore, among mammals, most helpers are females. In parental care, elephants would ensure enough security that requires cooperation of all elephants in that social colony. Elephants would surround the female on birth and would not move until when the calf is able to do the walking. The mother would protect the calf from predators such as lions and tigers. Cat family animals have mating behavior that involves use of males to seduce females. Fighting in male cheetahs for example makes the female to become on heat after some time. After conceiving and giving birth, the female usually takes care of the young ones by suckling, hunting for prey, and protection. Protections involves hiding cubs in a safe place from enemies. The female will carry disabled cubs to a safer place by holding it at the back of neck using its mouth. Most animals of cat family will do this to their offspring. Parental care in cat family will also include killing of other competitors, e.g. lion would try as much to kill young ones of other cats and even hyenas' cubs to reduce competition, since all are carnivorous and compete for herbivores together. All carnivores depend on meat from herbivores. Males in this family will only protect the pride when there is extreme enemy or danger. The female is always active, but the male is not. Animals like giraffe would kick its calf after birth to alert it on danger ahead. Parental care would involve protecting the calf against lion and hyena and other possible predators. 16.3.1 Life History Theory explains why all animals do not show parental care. All species do not provide high levels of care to their young. Parental care would be present or not can be explained according to life history theory. Life history theory proposes that natural selection will favor the evolution of traits that maximize an individual's lifetime reproductive success. On basis of life history, ecologists divide animal into two broad categories: are selected species, which show high fecundity and no parental care, and K-selected species, which shows low fecundity and high level of parental care. For all animals, energy, or effort, is allocated not only to oneself for growth and maintenance but also to offspring in the form of reproduction and parental care. The limited available energy creates an important life history trade-off: effort allocated toward reproduction and parental care reduces the effort that can be allocated toward an individual's own growth and survival. This trade-off allows us to understand the evolution of life history traits across species, including parental care behavior. Across species, we often see the evolution of particular sets of life history traits along a continuum. At one end, natural selection can favor individuals that produce many small offspring and provide minimal parental care, while at the other end, selection can favor the evolution of individuals that produce fewer but larger offspring that receive much parental care. Table 25. Table 25, Life History Continuum. In general, taxa that have a longer lifespan produce a relatively small number of large offspring and exhibit higher levels of parental care compared to those with a short lifespan, which tend to produce many small offspring. 16.3.2 Types of parental care. Animals show many different kinds of parental care, with taxonomic and ecological factors playing a major role in determining parental strategies. Within these, however, a number of broad forms of care can be recognized. 1. Establishing and maintaining nests, burrows, or territories. Males and or females of many species, both invertebrate and vertebrate, dig, build, or otherwise prepare nest constructions of some kind, whether they are burrows in the ground or woven edifices in trees. In some cases, males call from, or display near, the constructions to attract females, which then lay their fertilized eggs in them. In the other cases, females construct burrows or nests themselves, as in digger wasps. Males may also defend territories around resources needed by females to rear offspring. However, it can be difficult to know whether these behaviors represent parental effort or mating effort, since females often refuse to mate with males that do not possess appropriate constructions or territories. 2. Production and provisioning of gametes. The production of well-provisioned gametes by females constitutes the main form of parental expenditure in many species. Gamete size is often directly related to offspring growth and survival, though there are exceptions, and larger eggs can sometimes take longer to hatch, so incurring a greater risk of mortality. Males can contribute to the production of female gametes in various ways, including defending resources needed for eggs, offering nutritious nuptial gifts, passing on nutrients and ejaculates, or even allowing themselves to be eaten by the female. 3. Care of fertilized eggs. Care of fertilized eggs by one or both parents is found across a wide range of taxonomic groups. Care may be necessary to guard against predation or brood parasitism, or to maintain appropriate environmental conditions, temperature, salinity, oxygen levels, etc., for pre-hatching development. Various forms of care have evolved, including laying eggs on carefully chosen substrate or in nests or burrows, one or both parents carrying eggs, attached or unattached, around with them, the retention of fertilized eggs within the female reproductive tract, and protection within some other part of the parent's body, such as the mouth, in mouth brooding cichlids and some amphibians, specialized brood chambers, as in seahorses, and pipefish, or the stomach, as in some frogs. 4. Care of offspring without provisioning. Some species care for young without further provisioning. This often takes the form of guarding aggregations of offspring, or allowing offspring to shelter beneath, or cling to, the body of one or other parent. Removal experiments in a range of species have shown that such parental guarding can be vital in reducing offspring mortality. In many cases, parents are protecting offspring from predators or parasites, but sometimes they associate with offspring to maintain suitable environmental conditions, for example by ventilation or cleaning. 5. Provisioning offspring before hatching or birth. Various mechanisms have evolved to provision young prior to their emergence into the world. In some insects, this takes the form of provisioned burrows where eggs are laid on stored food supplies. In other cases, offspring are nourished from the mother's own body tissues, by eating her other eggs, oophagy, or embryos, adelphagy, by specialized secretions from the female reproductive tract or from brood chambers, or, as in some fish, amphibia, and alvarian mammals, from the female's blood supply via a placenta or pseudoplacenta. 8. Provisioning after hatching or birth. In many species, offspring are fed after hatching or birth. Sometimes this is with the same diet as the parents, as in some insects, crustaceans, and birds, and sometimes it is with a more or less specialized diet tailored to the needs of the young. Some birds that feed on grain as adults, for example, feed their chicks with small insects. In a wide range of species, food is often pre-digested or pre-prepared in some other way. Many carnivorous mammals, for instance, regurgitate partially digested meat for their offspring. In naked, mole rats, young are even fed on the feces of other colony members. In other cases, offspring are nourished with specialized secretions, such as milk in mammals, so-called crop milk, a creamy regurgitation of sloughed cells from the crop, in pigeons and doves, and various liquid secretions in insects. In some fish, young are fed on cutaneous blood or mucus from a parent. 7. Care after nutritional independence. In some long-lived species, parental care may extend beyond the time offspring are able to feed for themselves. In some sloths and primates, for example, parents may help offspring acquire or defend a territory until they can compete for themselves and acquire a mate. Care may even extend to suppressing potential competition by threat and aggression. In some social mammals, mature daughters may establish home ranges that overlap with that of their mother, or stay in the mother's social group, thus allowing them to benefit from access to resources. Raising a family involves tremendous costs for parents and helpers. Animals who provide food for their young may sacrifice food for themselves, and protecting the Young may involve the animal putting itself in danger. Acts that benefit another individual at a cost to the performer are altruistic acts. 16.3.3 Parental care trade-offs. Adults provide care to increase survivorship of their offspring, but doing so reduces their future fitness, resulting in a trade-off between allocating care effort to current offspring and allocating such effort to future offspring. This trade-off explains variation in care among individuals, and recent work has begun to examine the mediating effect of hormones in this relationship. This trade-off also explains why parents often provide unequal care to siblings and how unequal care can result in brood reduction. Parent-offspring conflict theory. Parent-offspring conflict theory can also help us understand the evolution of parental care behavior that perhaps seems outright maladaptive. In many birds and some mammals, parents provide different amounts of care to siblings. Some receive much more care than others. This difference leads to substantial variation in offspring size and, ultimately, survival. The largest, most well-fed siblings tend to survive, while those that receive little food suffer high mortality, which can result in brood reduction or the death of some siblings. At first glance, it might appear that such behavior should increase survivorship of all offspring. However, parent-offspring conflict theory predicts that brood reduction can be adaptive for a parent. If the costs of parental care for a current offspring exceed the benefits of such care, then parents should cease providing care to that offspring. For example, if resources are very scarce, it may require too much effort on the part of the parents to obtain sufficient food to feed all siblings. A parent can enhance its total lifetime reproduction if it ends care for some current offspring to better provide care to future offspring. While this behavior may seem inconceivable to humans, it does make sense from an evolutionary perspective. 16.3.4 Brood parasitisms. The high costs of parental care help explain the evolution of intra- and interspecific brood parasitism. Brood parasitism is a behavior to reduce the cost of parental care is for a female to lay her eggs in the nest of another female, called a host. The benefit of this behavior is reduced parental care, which can then result in enhanced reproductive success for the brood. Parasite. Although the benefit of parasitism is clear, it does entail some risk. A parasitized female may reject the added eggs or chicks, an outcome that will not increase fitness for the female parasite. The simplest way to avoid egg rejection is to parasitize conspecifics by laying eggs in the nests of other females of the same species. Rejection by the host will be difficult because the eggs of conspecific females look similar. Conspecific brood parasitism is common in birds, with examples from over and also occurs in fish and insects. 16.3.5 Hormone and parental care. Prolactin is an important hormone that regulates parental care in many vertebrates. It initiates lactation and parental care behavior in mammals and also is involved in stimulating parental care in birds, as well as the production of nutrient-rich crop milk, a secretion from the alimentary tract, in mourning doves, Zenita macrura. Much research today investigates how stress affects prolactin production. Increases in stress hormones typically suppress prolactin production. This suppression may be an adaptive response. Decreases in parental care behavior allow individuals to concentrate on their own survival, but more work is needed to fully understand this pattern. Prolactin may also be an important factor in the development of paternal care in mammals and fish, but the evidence is conflicting. In insects, juvenile hormone production is often negatively associated with parental care behaviors.